Okay, so our first habit for the Philadelphia Convention is begin with
Win-win.
win-win.
It's win-win.
Okay.
Yes.
Because the Great Compromise is basically just a big win-win situation.
Yeah, and so they just wanted to decide to make it fair for both of them, but some of the representatives did not. They wanted it to be like a win-lose, like from the big states. They wanted them to like have more advantage over them, but they were trying to decide about it.
Yeah, everyone won when they decided about the Senate and the House of Representatives.
Or as many people as possible. So yeah.
And then our second habit is begin with the end in mind.
What they did is before they even kind of started figuring out their problems, they said, well, here's what we know. We want George Washington to be in charge and kind of manage it. And then they said, well, we want this. We know what we're doing. We're going to do this. And we want to make sure it's a secret. And they just laid out a whole list of all their priorities and
Brady,
did that before they started.
For the convention.
Yeah, for the begin with the end in mind.
Well, I would say that they wanted to. I'm not really sure, but
They decided that whatever they said in the convention was going to be secret for the next 2 years. So they knew what they wanted, and then they didn't give up. They knew we have to rewrite the Articles of Confederation because they really stink right now. So
yeah, and that's kind of a way that they synergized.
Yeah, so they said we can't give up, even though we're going to give you guys the job to go come up with an idea that we might like, and we're going to move on to something else.
And they synergized that group to come up with a solution, and then they moved on. Now that they've got this big state, little state thing out of the way, they moved on, and they worked together throughout the whole rest to write their constitution.
Yeah, like, they were definitely synergizing. Like, they synergized to make the House of Representatives and the Senate, and they also made it, they wrote the Constitution synergized. They did, like, almost every single thing at the Philadelphia Convention was synergized.
Yeah, it had to be.
Yeah, or they wouldn't get anything done.
No, when you had all these people with all different ideas, you just had to work together and find some sort of a solution because you can't use everyone's ideas. There's just too many people.
And this is kind of a stretch on habit 7.
Sharpen
the saw. But George Washington, since he was the general in the war or whatever, and he was in charge and everyone respected him, he was like the #1 guy in the whole 13 colonies, he didn't go, oh, I'm in charge now because I'm most respected and I'm the most well-known man ever in the whole 13 colonies. I'm going to just go be president right now and go to every convention and not care about anybody else's things. Instead, he just went, oh, well, that was us. Let's go home and farm.
Yeah, he didn't be like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. He kind of just stepped down and said, you know what, I don't really like all this stuff. I just want to bring back to the normal me where I just farm and,
be good.
Be simple.
Yeah, like after the Revolutionary War, he went back to the farm, but then they begged him to go to the Philadelphia Convention, and then he went back to farm. He wanted to sharpen the saw, like balance fields best. He just wanted to balance out his farm life and his
politics.
Yeah. Speak a little louder. Anything else? Any more habits? Oh, do we say
proactive? I think we said.
No, we said that they did. That's habit 3.
Oh yeah, wait.
Habit 3 is put first things first. So they definitely put first things first.
Yes. They took their most important kind of disagreed on matter and they tried to solve a problem for that. And then they're like, okay, this isn't really working. Now we got to put the other stuff first because we realize that this problem isn't getting much better.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they did put first things first because, they wanted to get this Philadelphia Convention done. And like Addie said, if something wasn't working, they put it aside and tried something else.
And habit 5 is seek first to understand, then to be understood.
Yeah.
And they definitely did that, kind of. They didn't do it all the time because they were arguing, and this was about the fate of their country. So they couldn't just go, oh, I guess you're right. This Constitution's only going to last a week. We'll be fine. it's for the rest of the country. So they had to listen to themselves and listen to other people to see if they had a good idea or if they could build off of it. But they also had to say what they wanted to say.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That, like, even though they all did have their own opinions, and they did argue a little bit, but they definitely listened to each other on a lot of the matters. Not so much the smaller states and larger states with the representatives. They didn't really listen to each other as much on that. But on some of the other matters, they really kind of, I think they listen to each other. And part of listening to each other, if they didn't listen, then they wouldn't have found this compromise. So.
Yeah, I think you guys pretty much summed it up. Like, it's a convention. It's pretty much a big meeting, like trying to remake the Articles of Confederation, the Constitution. They had to listen to each other's ideas, even though they were arguing.
Yeah, and then one last habit, I think they were being proactive by deciding, you know what, the articles really aren't working. We just need to start new. I think they were being proactive instead of like struggling to fix the articles. They're like, okay, we really need to take action, and we can't just sit around and wait for something to happen. We need to be proactive and get some stuff done.
Yeah, because the Articles of Confederation caused a lot of problems. Like, I'm not sure some of them, but I know that it caused really bad.
Yeah. They didn't even have any they couldn't tax the people. But also, I agree with the proactive, you're being in charge of yourself and what's in your circle of control. But they were voted by their state to go to this convention, so they had to represent their state and their country. They couldn't just go, oh, if we don't tax the people, I don't have to pay money, so who cares?
Yeah, and I just realized, Shays' Rebellion all started because of this Articles of Confederation. People were poor and they couldn't pay their bills, so they got jailed, and then they went on strike. Well, not really strike, but they wanted to attack the government.
Protest.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there were a lot of bad things about the Articles of Confederation, and then they decided, we have to change this.
Yeah.
Anything else, guys? Brady, Addie?
I think that's it.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.